Hi and welcome to Hamburg for Panasonic's European Convention 2012.
The Panasonic Conference is held every year, and as Steve said, we're here in Hamburg. And of course, the products that Panasonic produce are wide-ranging, from white goods like microwave ovens, washing machines and fridge freezers, all the way to Blu-ray players, home cinema systems, and of course this year's Viera 2012 range. So let's start by looking at the LED LCD lineup.
And perhaps we'll start with the most interesting development, because obviously Panasonic's most popularly associated with active shutter 3D TVs, but this is a passive 3D TV. The idea behind this is they wanted to introduce an entry-level 3D TV, and they were going to use a 100 Hz panel, and they find it very difficult to do active shutter with a 100 Hz panel, but it's a lot more easy to do that with a passive 3D TV. So what we have here is a panel made by a third party. Now they wouldn't say exactly who that is, but they did say their name involved 2 letters, so I'll let you decide on that. And what we have basically is a 300 Hz, so it's got backlight scanning. It has an IPS panel with a much wider field of view. It also, of course, has Smart Viera built in. It's Wi-Fi ready, and an attractive and interesting-looking entry-level 3D passive 3D TV. And moving on to the first active shutter 3D TV in the LCD LED lineup, we have the ET50. Now, of course, the design looks quite similar to perhaps another manufacturer, but we have a full 200 Hz native panel with backlight scanning, making it 800 Hz. It also, of course, uses an IPS panel again with a much wider field of view. It is Wi-Fi enabled, and it also has Smart Viera, of course. So a slight step up from the previous model, but active shutter 3D and a very attractive design, although perhaps slightly derivative. And of course, Smart Viera is the big thing this year, and behind me is the DT series. Now, we really liked the DT series when we saw it last year, and as you can see, it's had a bit of a facelift. It's now got this silver bezel, very similar to perhaps Samsung from last year. It also has a 200 Hz panel with 1600 Hz backlight scanning. Of course, it includes Smart Viera and all the features that come with that, like web browsing and content sharing, and it includes their new Clear Panel Pro, as well as brilliant contrast and USB HDD recording. And a very attractive looking TV, certainly, and I'm sure it'll be very popular with the members. And finally, we have Panasonic's top-of-the-line LED LCD TV, which is the WT50. Now, of course, this also includes a 200 Hz panel with 1600 Hz backlight scanning. It includes a Viera Connect, of course, all the features that come with that. It includes HDD recording. It has an IPS panel for a much wider angle of view, 178 degrees. It has infinite contrast, and it has one special feature that only comes with the WT50. It's a touch-sensitive remote control. You actually get 2 remote controls, a standard remote and plus a touch-sensitive remote, very similar to a kind of a smartphone, effectively. It also includes a smartphone app, of course, as well. And a very similar looking stand, I think, to be honest. Attractive TV and absolutely feature-packed, and I'm sure it'll be very popular when we get it in for review.
Kicking off the plasma lineup this year is the X, the XT and the UT series of entry-level plasma TVs. Now the real difference there is that the X and the XT are HD ready. The XT, with the T denoting 3D, is 3D, and the UT is the first full HD panel in the lineup this year. Now the UT, it doesn't use the new Nero plasma, it's an older generation of the plasma panel, but it is an entry level. So the first major TV of the year is the one behind me now, which is the ST series. And one of the big things this year is that it will be available in 55-inch and 65-inch sizes. And we have it on good authority that the 65-inch size will be around about 2.3 to 2.5, which in terms of pricing is excellent for that real estate of screen. The ST this year doesn't have the top-of-the-line new panel driving system, which is the 2500 Hz. This is a 2000 Hz driven panel, but it's got to say that the black levels do look really good. Images are quite nice in what is a convention floor, and we can't wait to get them in for review. This is going to be the mid-level screen size for this year, which means that when we move on to the GT, you're in for a shock.
And the surprise is that the GT50 is only available in a 42-inch and 50-inch screen size. In fact, Panasonic have dropped the 46-inch screen size from across their entire range. Now, of course, the GT50 is a feature-packed panel. It has the new 2500 Hz driven panel. It has an Infinite Black Pro filter. It also has the High Contrast Pro filter. It has dual-core processing. It has THX certification, and of course, Smart Viera. Of course, it has Smart Viera. What wouldn't this year? It looks fantastic, and it has a slight cosmetic uplift because, unlike last year, they've moved that silver trim from inside the bezel to outside the bezel, which I think is a pretty good idea. Certainly an attractive looking TV, but only available in 2 screen sizes, and I think it might be difficult to get hold of this year. Now we'll move on to the top of the range plasma. And here we have Panasonic's top of the line plasma, the VT50. Now it does come in larger screen sizes than the GT50. You have the 55-inch and also the 65-inch. But otherwise, the specifications are pretty similar. I mean, the only real difference is it includes the touch-sensitive remote control, which is available on the top of the line WT and the VT. And it's got a slight different facelift. It's got the single sheet of glass approach that they had last year as well. One interesting factor is I noticed that under the Eco section, the brightness has now been increased by 30%. That might be a good thing for people who found it very difficult to calibrate the professional modes because of a lack of brightness. So essentially it's very similar to last year, but of course remember there's going to be no 42-inch and no 46-inch available this year. But otherwise, as I said, a very attractive TV and absolutely feature-packed, of course, with some interesting additional features and the new 2500 Hz driven panel.
So that's the LED, LCD and plasma lineup for 2012. Now, some interesting things in there, especially missing screen sizes, the 46-inch being completely missing this year, and of course, the high-end TV not coming in a 42-inch size. So let's catch up with Fabrice Esternel, the product manager, and get the philosophy behind this year's 2012 TV range.
Well, the philosophy is a slight change. I mean, more an evolution than a complete change. We are still obviously committed to plasma with a wide range of products, but the new thing for us is to develop the range of LED TVs. Where in the past we stopped at 42-inch, now we go up to 55-inch. It's not in order to replace plasma, it's just to give more choice to our customers, and who are looking maybe for products more based on design and eco or more slimness or brightness.
Now the cynics out there will say, well, there's a very popular Korean brand that do plasma and LED, and they do nice designed LEDs, and that's what they build their business on. Is this you playing catch up?
Well, we are adapting to the market. There's definitely a market for the top end for products with different design and slim bezel, and you can't do that with plasma. Plasma's got some other advantages, but for people who are maybe a bit more style conscious, LCD and LED is the technology to achieve that, and yeah, there's an opportunity for us to go there. You have some customer who don't want to buy plasma for a reason or another, so we need to, as a company, to be able to give them choice and the opportunity to choose between plasma and LCD and stay within the Panasonic brand.
Now, Panasonic have always said it's about picture quality at the end of the day. You're talking about an LED LCD, it has drawbacks, that technology, so what technology have you put in place to overcome that?
Well, we use, especially the step-up and the top-end model, we use our own panels made in Japan, so using the IPS alpha technology. So one of the main advantage of LED technology is to IPS alpha is to have a better viewing angle, and so we have a 178 degrees viewing angle, so which maintain especially the black level view through different angles, and we're using some new processors. We have dual core processor on the top end, plasma as well, but on LCD, so we improve the picture treatment, and we have some new filters for the top end LED to improve the black level on the LEDs.
Now, another thing that Panasonic is on record as saying that it will always be active 3D, yet we see a passive 3D in your lineup.
Yeah.
What's the thinking behind that?
Well, as I said, we are as a brand we have to look at the market we're in, and we have to adapt to that. So we identify the requests for what we call internally casual 3D. So for people not necessarily looking for the best picture quality in 3D, because that is still given by Active, and all our step up and top end model are still using Active. But we identified an entry level 3D where passive is given. Just that, the possibility to have 3D time to time, and for people not based on the, as I said, best picture quality, maybe not necessarily for movie, but more time to time for special events. So we think that passive technology fits the bill for that.
Now, Plasma this year, a few changes. No 46 inches at all this year.
No 46 inch in Plasma. We decided to have only 47 inch for LED. The reason why, cost-wise, I mean, 50 inch, 46 inch is very, very close. So we prefer to focus on 50 inch and larger screen sizes as well, because we have, as you've seen, we have more 55 and more 65 inch, two of each this year. So that's where we decided to put the focus this year. So yeah, 46 Plasma is gone, but we are focusing on 50 inch plus, but we still keep 42 inch, of course, because there's a big market there.
Now, the mid-range model, the ST, it's the one that seems this year to have been given a lot of screen sizes. The reasons behind that were?
It's a natural thing in the range. It's a natural fit. It's the core range, and so we decided to. One of the advantages of Plasma is in large screen size. So we decided there to have a good value for money offer. So it's the core model. So you already have a Neo Plasma. We are on 2000 Hertz. You've got all the smart Viera, so all the connected feature. And so we decided that this kind of the key range for core in Plasma, so we decided to put the focus more on that, keeping the GT for more specialist based, and same for the VT.
So yes, I mean the GT, it drops screen size this year, and also the VT there's no 42. So I take it you're trying to tie in the GT and the VT a bit more closely this year.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, in terms of segmentation on the market, GT and VT are quite close. They both use a dual core processor, so it's more in terms of design. Design are slightly different, and you've got, for example, the glasses are included in the VT, and you've got an extra remote for the smart Viera use. But I mean, technically, they are quite close. So we see basically GT, VT as a kind of operating in the same area, which is why we decided to keep the 42 on the GT, but not on the VT. So you will only have a 42 inch on GT50.
Before we go into picture quality for this year, obviously there's some issues that we need to cover from last year. One being the VT30. It's come to light in the last few months that there's reports of green tinges, green splodges on the screens. I know you know about the problem, so from Panasonic's point of view, what are you doing at the moment to try and help forum members out?
Yeah, well, first I'd like to apologise for all the people who have problems with those TV. We identified, we've been made aware that some of those panels have the product the issue as you identified as green tinge. So what I know is we issued an update on the TV, which I know improved the situation, but not for everybody. I'm sorry about that one more time. What I can say is that our guys at the customer service, they are in relation with the people. We have them as we know they are there. So we are trying to find the best solution for everybody. So I know that some of those TVs have been had this problem. So we are trying to deal the best we can with people.
Now, one of the threads that I wanted to pick up on was that after this recent update, some members got the idea that you'd just given up on them now. I take it that's not the case. You're still exploring things.
No. It's we are still working on that. So which is why we issued an update because we are working on this. As I said, some of those customers seem to be still unhappy with it. So we are trying to find the best solution for them. So still looking into the problems and having a regular contact with them. So we don't want to give up on this. That's not the way we do business. So we'll try to find the best solution for everybody.
Now, you said earlier that obviously this is on the forums that people are discussing this, but you said you would like to deal with people on a one-to-one basis. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, what I say is that if you think that you've got the issue on the TV, please contact us, and we will try our best to help the people. I mean, I understand that sometimes it's easy to go on the forum and express frustration, but I mean we are there to help the customers. So we'd like them to contact us, and we will try to do our best to find a solution. Okay,
so let's move from last year to this year. A lot of excitement about the GT and the VT. Yeah. One thing that sticks out is 2,500 hertz. You're going to have to explain it for people.
Well, I'm sure you will be able to give the detail of that. It's just we have a much faster panel this year, so we improved that. So it improved the smoothness of the TVs, of the pictures on the TV. So I mean, it's probably a bit complicated to explain that, but I'm sure you will document that very well on the site. But it gives a much better picture quality in motion. I mean, as you've seen on the demo we've done there. So it's an improvement on compared with 2011 panels. So I know it's a bit of marketing obviously involved on that, on the 2,500, but there's a real benefits for the end users in terms of the fluidity of the motion on the picture.
And what other picture enhancements are on there?
We've improved one more time. So the speed of the panel with the short stroke phosphor we've been improved. The pre-charge time has been reduced even more, which means that the black level is even better. We improved the filter as well, especially on the VT. So the VT50 is giving a darker. When the black area is better, we got more details in the dark areas on the screen, and the panel is less reflective as well. So these are the main improvements we've made, and we decided as well to this year we improved the efficiency of the panel, but instead of reducing let's say the power consumption, all the extra efficiency that we get, we put that back into the panel driver. So in order to drive the panel a bit harder and get better brightness as well. So that's what we've done mainly for Plasma this year.
Now, I've got to pull you up on this. You've got the VT50 and the tagline is the reference. What are you trying to tell us there?
Well, I mean, I think we had a very good feedback on the VT30. I think a lot of people considered it as being the best TV in terms of picture quality last year. So what we just expressed there is our idea is to do the same with the VT50. We think that we have some very key advantages for Plasma, and we think we've developed a great range of LED as well. But I mean, as a plasma manufacturer, we still think that the VT50 should be the TV to go for if you're really about picture quality. That's what you really want, and black level and all of the things. So that's why in our range we express it as being still the reference as a TV.
So obviously we piqued everybody's interest. If they're still watching this video, they're obviously interested in the product.
Hope so.
So. In terms of release dates, when can we expect them?
Well, the first Plasma should be with us at the beginning of March, and so the GT and the VT should be with us late March, beginning of April. And for the LED, it's about the same. The core model will be with us in March, April, and the top end 55-inch will arrive both in May. So basically, between beginning of March and May, you will have the launch of all the range.
Just in time for the Olympics.
Just in time of the Olympic. It's almost planned.
Moving on from the TV technical details, one of the key messages at this year's conference was Smart Viera. So what makes the Panasonic Smart TV different from other systems on the market? Steve caught up with Andrew Denham to find out.
We've constantly and consistently focused on ease of use and ease of interoperability for the consumer, making it a very, very seamless operation. So we continue to focus on that, and this year focusing particularly hard on dual screen applications. So the ability to watch TV while Skyping, watch TV while using social networking sites, we think is going to really expand the usability of a lot of the functions on the product, along with multitasking, which allows you to run up to 6 applications simultaneously.
It seems a lot of people are talking about multitasking and doing things like Skyping and Twittering, etc. And quite often they never seem to mention actually watching TV. I mean, in terms of video content, what are you offering on your platform?
Well, in terms of making sure you continue to watch TV, we do talk a lot about TV. It's all about ensuring that we maintain the very best picture performance for TV whilst allowing you to interact with that other content. We are expanding the number of video on-demand services on the platform. We'll bring Netflix onto the platform this year, and over time we'll evolve into other platforms too.
I recently saw some research that suggested that out of 20 different factors related to TV, the bottom 2 were video on demand and internet TV. So, I mean, with every manufacturer placing so much importance upon smart TV, do you think maybe your strategy is slightly misguided?
No. Again, the focus in terms of priorities has been around catch-up services, particularly iPlayer, and the expansions that the BBC are planning this year are quite exciting, and we're engaged in all of those activities. We've got the BBC News channel running on the service, and I think expanding and getting as many of those catch-up services available to consumers is like the bedrock, the foundation of connected TV. And then from that position on, clearly you get a cascade of usage depending on customer requirements. Skype, I think, is a major benefit, and the fact that you can Skype whilst watching a football match and sharing the moment with friends and family around the world, I think is going to be quite an invigorating change, and something that's exclusive to Smart Viera this year.
In terms of connectivity, I mean, a lot of other manufacturers have more devices that are all connected together with their TVs. I mean, what kind of devices have you got?
Well, we started to add, obviously we have DLNA functionality across our home cinema range, across our Blu-ray products. Also we're introducing Lumix products, which are Wi-Fi connected as well, and the ability actually with those products to actually communicate via tablet or via a smartphone to remotely control and interface with your products. So we're really now in that period of convergence between all of the product platforms, which I think is going to be a very dynamic and very exciting time for the consumer.
And of course, you also announced a smartphone yourself at this convention, didn't you?
We did, yeah. It's very exciting, and we'll be announcing the details on that product in the coming weeks.
Is there a launch date on it?
It'll be around spring, so around April, May time.
Andrew, inherently watching TV is a passive activity, and the internet is very much an interactive activity. It's very much you're doing things on the internet, you're creating content, etc. The two seem to me to be mutually exclusive. So how would you respond to that statement?
I would agree with you. I think actually watching TV is a sit-back, a lean-back activity. So a lot of the way we've evolved Smart Viera towards some sort of web experience is all around the usability functionality. So the ability to be able to use your smartphone, your Viera, your Panasonic smartphone to control your navigation experience, I think is going to be quite a key part of actually utilising the TV as a web browsing tool. But being practical about it, it's primarily, as you rightly say, TVs are about giving a tremendous TV experience. So majority of our focus remains about the best picture performance that we can possibly deliver.
And that wraps up our coverage from the Panasonic Convention 2012. Lots of interesting products there, Steve, to have a look at. I mean, obviously we're not going to pass judgment until we get them in for review, but plasma line this year, certainly the ST gaining a 65-inch and a 55-inch screen sizes, and the VT obviously having the 3 sizes and losing the 42-inch. There's going to be some people are not going to be happy with that.
Yeah, possibly, Phil. I think I can see where they're coming from. They're trying to offer much larger screen sizes because that's one of the advantages of plasma. I can't help but feel that with the extra screen size in the ST50 and the similarity between the GT and the VT, that maybe the GT won't be so easily available this year. That's what I've kind of heard, and possibly not available at all next year.
And of course the LED, LCD TV lineup, really quite interesting to see up to 55 inches in that line, because Panasonic have always said, well, big screen always should be plasma. I guess they're having to do this because of Samsung and LG and other manufacturers doing LED and larger screen sizes. They have to do it just to keep up.
Also, I think maybe when people go into a store, quite often salesmen, discuss the disadvantages of plasma, things like screen burn and image retention, and they end up buying an LED LCD TV, and this gives Panasonic an opportunity to compete with people like Samsung and LG in that market.
And I guess the way that we highlight that is passive 3D. We thought we'd never see it from Panasonic. They've had to introduce it just so they can get sales. I mean, it's a market there that people are buying, passive 3D TVs, so it's silly for them not to have one.
Yeah, I think Panasonic had to basically face up to reality. The fact is that people aren't that keen on spending £100 on a pair of active shutter glasses. They're going to put 4 pairs of passive glasses in with their passive TV, and it makes sense. It makes it a cheap entry-level 3D display, and that's really what they need out there right now, I think.
And are we interested in Smart Viera and Smart TV? I mean, I guess this is the big question. I mean, internet's always a sit-forward experience. TV's always a sit-back experience. How do you combine the two together and make it successful?
Yeah, I feel you're absolutely right that the two may well be slightly mutually exclusive. Having said that, of course, there are elements that do appeal. Video on demand is obviously massively popular in the UK. Things like BBC iPlayer is the most downloaded app there is, and I can see a lot of benefit from that. Things like Netflix and Love Film and watching streaming, video streaming. That makes sense. Some of the other stuff, though, do I really want to talk on Skype while I'm watching a movie? Not, to be honest.
Okay, well that's it from the Panasonic Convention. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage, and don't forget to tune into the Home Cinema podcast this month, where we give you our thoughts and experiences in more detail. So tune in for that. That's on the podcast page. But from now, thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.